Turn back the clock to the early 1900s, a time of grandeur, innovation, and seemingly boundless optimism. The world was undergoing a dramatic transformation, with the Industrial Revolution acting as the driving force. Cities were growing at an unprecedented pace, and the landscape was changing with the rise of factories and the expansion of railways. The Industrial Revolution had not only changed the way people lived and worked, but it had also opened up new opportunities for travel. Transatlantic voyages were becoming increasingly popular, with people from all walks of life crossing the ocean in search of new experiences, opportunities, and adventures. The steamship had become the symbol of this new age of mobility. The competition among shipbuilders was fierce. Each sought to outdo the other by creating the largest, most luxurious ocean liners. It was during this time of intense rivalry that the White Star Line, a prominent British shipping company, made the bold decision to build a ship that would surpass all others in size, luxury, and reputation. The company's vision was simple yet ambitious: to create a ship so grand, so majestic, that it would be the envy of all other shipbuilders. A ship that would not only be the largest in the world, but also the most luxurious. A ship that would embody the spirit of the era, reflecting the optimism, grandeur, and innovation that defined the dawn of the 20th century. The White Star Line's decision came not just from a desire to outshine their competitors, but also from a belief in progress and human achievement. They wanted to create a symbol of mankind's ability to conquer nature, to overcome the vast and unpredictable Atlantic Ocean with a vessel of unparalleled size and grandeur. And so, the stage was set for the birth of the Titanic, a ship destined to make history. Enter the Titanic, a marvel of engineering and a symbol of human ambition. The Titanic was an embodiment of human ingenuity, a testament to the spirit of the age. She was the largest moving object built by man at that time, stretching nearly 900 feet in length. Her construction was an endeavor of epic proportions, employing thousands of workers over 2 years in the bustling shipyards of Belfast. The Titanic was not just grand in size, but also in luxury. She was a floating palace, designed to cater to the whims of the wealthiest, while still offering comfort to those in steerage. Her first-class accommodations were the epitome of opulence, with suites rivaling the finest hotels in Paris or New York. The ship boasted amenities unheard of at sea: a gymnasium, a Turkish bath, a squash court, and even a swimming pool. Every detail, from the ornate paneling in the dining saloon to the fine china in the cafe, was designed to impress. But the Titanic wasn't just a symbol of luxury. She was also heralded as the safest ship afloat. Her hull was divided into 16 watertight compartments, leading many to dub her unsinkable. This ship was built not just for grandeur, but for resilience. Key figures in her creation, like the ship's designer Thomas Andrews and J. Bruce Ismay, the managing director of the White Star Line, were immensely proud of this floating wonder. Captain Edward Smith, a seasoned mariner, was entrusted with the helm for her maiden voyage. All shared a common belief in the ship's invincibility, a belief that reflected the era's unshakable faith in progress. Little did anyone know, this unsinkable ship would soon face an unthinkable fate. The Titanic, the ship of dreams, was about to embark on a journey that would etch her name forever in the annals of history, not for her grandeur or her technological triumphs, but for a tragedy that would shock the world. April 10, 1912, the Titanic embarked on her maiden voyage, carrying over 2,200 souls from Southampton to New York. The Titanic, a marvel of Edwardian engineering, began her journey across the Atlantic with an air of invincibility. She was the largest moving object on Earth, embodying the limitless potential of the 20th century. On board, a microcosm of society was represented, from the wealthiest tycoons and celebrities in first class to hopeful immigrants in third class. All were united by the shared excitement of this historic voyage. The Titanic was a floating palace, with an opulence that rivaled the finest hotels in Paris or New York. First-class passengers dined on gourmet meals, danced in the grand ballroom, and enjoyed the Turkish baths. Even third-class passengers experienced comforts unheard of on other ships, with their own dining area and reasonably spacious cabins. Yet this grandeur was underpinned by a dangerous complacency. As the Titanic traversed the icy North Atlantic, a series of iceberg warnings were received, but tragically ignored. The belief in the ship's unsinkability, coupled with the desire for a swift crossing, led to the decision to maintain a high speed, despite the increasing risks. The sea was unusually calm that night, which ironically made icebergs more difficult to spot, as there was little breaking of the water at their base. Meanwhile, life on board continued in blissful ignorance. The ship's orchestra played, laughter echoed from the dining saloons, and the lights of the Titanic shone brightly against the dark, starlit sky. Children asleep in their cabins dreamt of the adventures that awaited in the new world, while adults shared stories and drinks, blissfully unaware of the impending disaster. Underneath the starry sky, the Titanic, the ship of dreams, sailed onwards, oblivious to the danger ahead. The sea was calm, the night was moonless, and the world was unaware of the tragedy about to unfold. The Titanic, oblivious to the danger ahead, steamed full speed into a calm, moonless night. The clock strikes 11:40 p.m. on April 14th. The Titanic collides with an iceberg. As the iceberg scraped against the ship's starboard side, it punctured 5 of her 16 watertight compartments. Despite being designed to stay afloat with 4 compartments breached, the Titanic was now fatally wounded. The ship's crew sprang into action. Captain Edward Smith ordered the ship's carpenter to sound the ship, a nautical term for measuring the depth of water inside the hull. The grim assessment was clear. The Titanic, the unsinkable ship, was sinking. The crew worked to launch lifeboats, a task that proved chaotic and disorganized. Despite the ship's capacity to carry over 3,000 passengers and crew, lifeboat spaces were available for only about half that number. To add to the chaos, the women and children first policy, while noble in intention, was inconsistently applied, resulting in further confusion and panic. Passengers meanwhile reacted with a mix of disbelief, panic and stoicism. Some prayed in the ship's chapel, others tried to signal for help by firing distress rockets, while a few even played music in an attempt to maintain a semblance of normalcy. As the night wore on, the Titanic's bow dipped lower and lower into the freezing Atlantic. The ship's stern rose high into the air, and then, with a final groan of twisting metal and shattering glass, the Titanic split in 2. The bow section sank, pulling the stern upright for a few moments before it too succumbed to the inexorable pull of the sea. Survivors, floating in lifeboats or clinging to debris, watched in horror as the ship's lights, which had burned brightly even as she sank, flickered and finally went out. The silence that followed was broken only by the cries of those in the water. By 2:20 a.m. on April 15th, the Titanic was gone, swallowed by the icy Atlantic. In the wake of the disaster, the world was left to grapple with the magnitude of the tragedy. The Titanic, a marvel of human engineering, lay at the bottom of the North Atlantic. The loss of life was staggering. Over 1,500 souls, from the wealthiest magnates to the humblest workers, were silenced forever in the icy depths. The international response was immediate and profound. Countries around the globe mourned the victims, their collective grief a testament to the universal human capacity for empathy. The United States and the United Kingdom launched inquiries into the disaster, seeking to understand how such a tragedy could have occurred on the unsinkable ship. These investigations revealed a litany of failures, from inadequate safety regulations to an insufficient number of lifeboats. In response, the first International Convention for the Safety of Life at Sea was held in 1913. It resulted in a comprehensive set of maritime safety regulations, many of which remain in effect today. But the Titanic's legacy extends beyond the realm of maritime law. The ship's story has been immortalized in countless books, films and songs. These works capture the human drama of the Titanic, from the opulence of the first-class cabins to the desperate struggle for survival on that fateful night. In recent decades, ongoing explorations of the Titanic's wreck have provided a tangible link to the past. These underwater expeditions have recovered artifacts and explored the ship's decaying remains, offering new insights into the lives of those on board. The Titanic, once a symbol of human ambition, became a haunting reminder of our vulnerability in the face of nature's might. Its story continues to resonate, a solemn testament to the limits of human ingenuity and the enduring power of the human spirit.